Good morning, my name is Russell Parsons and I'm the editor of Marketing Week, and I'm here today with Richard Ellwood, who's the head of audience strategy for Disney EMEA. Richard just delivered a fantastic presentation on Disney's Insight strategy. Richard, you talked in your presentation about how you've got to know your audiences so you can deliver the right campaigns, contents, products and services for them. Now, that sounds like the silver bullet, the golden ticket for marketers. What's the first stage in being able to achieve this, do you think?
Well, I think the first stage is in terms of really understanding your audiences, and this wasn't an overnight thing. This is something that we've been working on, a huge team of researchers all across Europe, scouring our own research, plus also looking into academic studies and syndicated research and looking at social media and behavioral analysis. So this has been a long-term process to really make sure we've got the right understanding of different audiences, their need states, their emotional need states, how they choose content or products or experiences, and then taking that understanding of audiences and making sure that we deliver the right level of relevance.
And you talked about kind of what happens, you know, you've set the framework there, and in terms of audience strategy. Perhaps could you give me an example of one of your fantastic franchises where you've employed these stages of developments and strategy?
Yeah, absolutely. So whether it's been Frozen for girls and making sure that we're delivering on their needs for seeing elements of their lives replicated in the characters. So whether it's about expressions of friendship or about creativity, or taking a totally different example, thinking about Star Wars and thinking about blokes of my age, understanding, okay, well, what is it about Star Wars that we could find that's going to be most relevant to dads? And that actually, there's a lot of similarity. So it could be things about the way that dads feel like they want to have shared interests with their children. It could be about dads feeling that they want to protect their children, and so they can see a resonance there in the storylines or in the characters. Or it could be about delivering that emotional closeness for their children. So one really fascinating thing there that we were talking about earlier is that nostalgia that takes you back to your own childhood of watching Star Wars and then wanting to recreate that with your own children.
Thank you for that. I mean, clearly Insight runs through the, right to the DNA of Disney. How have you approached, and how has Disney approached kind of getting buy-in from the top down at Disney for your Insight strategy?
Well, I think we're very lucky because all of the executive management team, headed up by our president, Diego Lerner, to our CMO, Tricia Wilbur, everyone is incredibly bought into consumer insights and research. And so I sit on the marketing board. We've got a presence of research in every meeting that happens at Disney. And so it means that actually people act in a very natural way and look to the insights. And so it's a real partnership. It's not about the research team popping in to talk about one particular element. The research is always there, and there's always, we're asked for a viewpoint or we contribute a viewpoint. And actually it's been something that, I suppose when I joined Disney, it was moving it from being a research function that reacted to the business to being much more proactive, to making sure that we brought the right insights to the right people. Now it's moving that a step forward to say, actually, let's make sure that we set our strategy based on these unique audience segments and make sure that we bring the right elements of the business to suit the needs and the choices and the relevance for each of our different audiences.
Thank you. You're speaking at Marketing Week's Data Storytelling Conference in November. Could you tell me what your take is on how people turn data into insight, into stories? I mean, what's the key there? What's the takeaway that you'd like to give people?
Well, I suppose the first point is to say I haven't cracked it. I don't think anyone has really cracked it. I don't think I've seen any examples of anyone doing anything which is great. That's it. We've got big data sorted. I think the answer is knowing what are the right metrics to look at, and whether that's about behavioral metrics such as TV ratings or social media, and how do you select the right elements there? How do you get the right tracking into your quantitative trackers? Do you bring in your financials? And then how do you understand all of that? And how do you understand the difference between correlation and causation? So my personal feeling is that this is about getting the right metrics and then bringing in qualitative research to make sure that you can get to the why, what's really driving that behavior or that situation. So it'd be fascinating to talk more about that.
Yeah. Thank you. That's great. Thank you, Richard. That's all from me for the time being, but I'll be back later with more interviews. Thanks very much.